Eric, if you could now please provide us an update on Social Security reform. Where do we stand on that?
My pleasure. I'm very pleased to be here. It's an honor. I'm also very appreciative of the National Hispanic Council on Aging being a very early member of the Strengthen Social Security campaign, which we'll talk about. And also couldn't help but think about a friend of mine, as you spoke, Edwin. Bill Beachell was the first commissioner on aging, and he would have been so proud to hear this because you started off talking about dignity. Bill helped write the Older Americans Act, and it has a portion of it which talks about the rights, the human rights of aging people. And he was very proud of that and very proud of the program. And I think I'll start with this notion of dignity. My messages are going to be three. One, that Social Security works. Two, that it's at risk, and that it's at very significant risks today in ways that it should be very concerning to all of us. And three, that there's some things we need to do to protect the program. The point I want to make ties right into what you were saying. This program gives expression to a set of values the American people hold and believe in deeply. The idea that the more you work, that if you work, there should be a return to work. You should be rewarded for work. The idea that we really do have a responsibility to honor our family, our parents. And this program, Social Security, works because it gives us a practical, viable, and really quite financially stable way of doing it. And we can talk about the financial stability of Social Security. For now, I'm just going to assume it. Yes, there's a long-term financing problem in Social Security, but fundamentally, it has sufficient funds to meet all obligations through 2036. After that, it's 25 cents short on every dollar promised. That sounds like a lot, but it's really not. There's an ongoing dedicated stream. There's a discussion in Washington perhaps this week about whether to extend the tax cuts to the highest 2% of American households, those that make $250,000 or more. Those households, the cost of doing that for those households is almost precisely the cost of fixing Social Security so that it's able to pay all benefits to all of us in this room and to our children and our grandchildren. Those are the trade-offs. There are some very simple and easy ways to deal with this without cutting benefits. There are a lot of people inside the Washington Beltway, inside of the halls of, well, some academics, not all of us, but a lot of us. A lot of the media think somehow we have to cut Social Security, and this is almost like a virus. And it's embedded itself in this notion that somehow Social Security is related to the federal deficit, which it isn't, because by law it can't borrow a penny by law it can't. And in fact, it loans money to the federal government. And it's embedded in this notion that somehow, to show that we're really tough we're going to be really tough with dealing with deficit reduction, we have to cut Social Security and distribute some pain to seniors. There are a set of proposals that are being discussed about Social Security because somehow they have the idea that that's the area they can make a contribution in, if you call it a contribution. And we face a very real risk that this could become a law and could change our Social Security. And the interesting thing is, it's not just seniors. It'll affect seniors, but even more, and it's mainly our children and our children's children will be affected because the cuts are huge. And the National Hispanic Council on Aging has joined this campaign to strengthen Social Security. My colleague Nancy Altman and I co-chair it, and it's an organization of 130 or so organizations ranging from Alliance for Retired Americans, the AFL-CIO, SEIU, to NAACP and a number of disability and children's groups. It is sending the message, and we're working together. We do not want to cut Social Security. We do not see it, it's just not necessary. We want to address the financing problems through revenues, and we want to improve the program, especially for the most at-risk populations as we go along.
That given the topic discussion, and since we're on Social Security, we're gonna change the order of our speakers slightly and ask Leticia to follow, because she is going to be touching on Social Security and how that directly impacts Latinos specifically. Leticia?
Sure, thank you. Yes, we've been working with Eric and the others in the Social Security Works Coalition also, and have benefited a lot from their analysis and work in this field. What I want to do is talk about the importance of Social Security to the Latino community, but also talk about the importance of Latinos to the solvency of the Social Security program. Social Security is widely used in the Latino community. About 3/4 of all Latino seniors rely on Social Security for at least part of their income. Also, as mentioned by a previous speaker, Social Security helps keep the majority of Latino seniors out of poverty. The poverty rate among Latino seniors right now is about 19%, but that's with Social Security. Without Social Security, about 50% of Latino seniors would fall under the poverty line. Also, it's important to know that Latino workers lack access to any types of pension plans in the workplace. Only 1/3 of Latino workers in 2008 had access to an employer-sponsored retirement plan of any kind, whether that's pension or 401k. So 2/3 of all Latino workers today do not have a way to save for retirement in the workplace. So what that leads to is a very high reliance in our community on Social Security. There's a couple of other points I want to make. There are disparities in access to Social Security. Latino seniors are less likely to use Social Security than other seniors. Latino seniors tend to receive lower benefits on average, and that's a reflection of a lower earnings level that is more likely in our community. However, we receive a higher return on our tax contributions. So the Social Security benefit formula is progressive, and it favors lower income workers. So if you're a low income worker, you get a higher return on your payments than if you're a high income worker. And then also Latinos tend to live longer. We live on average 4 or 5 years longer than the rest of the country. So we're receiving payments for a longer period of time. So when you do all of the math, it tends to be a higher return for Latino seniors. So it's a very well-designed program for our community. Lastly, I wanted to make the point about how does Latino population growth improve the solvency of Social Security? Latino immigrants, it's been stated very plainly in numerous documents from the Social Security trustees' reports that Latino immigrants improve the solvency of Social Security. For every 100,000 increase of immigrants into our country, that improves the long-term actuarial balance of the Social Security Trust Fund by 0.07% of taxable payroll.